Hello, welcome to the last week of the course. I know it's gone fast. Um, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you have learned things of value. I know I have. I've learned a lot from the content. Maybe some of you don't like a professor saying they're learning while they're teaching, but personally I think it's good teaching. And I really have learned a lot, and it's really why I wanted to teach this course for the first time. So um, I trust you all are, I hope you're enjoying doing your final activity as you pull things together, integrating content. Some of you have already sent it to me. Thanks a lot for doing that. Um, a few things I want to share before I do that. I just want to, make sure and give you a heads up. And about completing the activity for this week. There's 4 things to read. I know you might not read those in great detail, but there's also a video. But basically, I'm trying to take it kind of easy because I know you guys are wrapping things up. So I'm just asking for this week that you send me an email directly to me with the assignment. The assignment's listed as usual. But this assignment, and it's a little different than what's in the syllabus, but I'm scaling it down a little bit. But parent involvement in schools. And just a really important topic. I think it's important for all kids, but especially important for kids from diverse backgrounds. So it's been touched upon in a variety of ways, I suppose, in the earlier content of the course, but I think we often assume, everyone really values education. Maybe that everyone trusts teachers. Those of you who have worked in the field probably know that's not really the case. I know in my teaching experience, many of the kids I worked with, the parents had the parents and probably the grandparents had very poor school experiences. If you think about what you've read about in the Indian Education for All content, Native American students, and the boarding school era, we shouldn't assume that people have a positive view of the school or of teachers or administrators. So what you're going to be reading about this week is home visits, which, I know a lot of us are around a lot of cynical people, and how would we ever have time for that? But I think there's some great ideas that you can really apply in this unit. I'd like to share just a little bit about my teaching experience. And I didn't I'm trying to think if I ever actually did a home visit. I don't believe that I ever did. But one of the things that I really made a point to do, and I'm really glad someone encouraged me to do this along the way, was to reach out to parents in ways that are not necessarily typical. So this could be something building up to potentially home visits. One thing is, like, don't just go out and do home visits on your own without communication with your administrators, if you're a classroom teacher or support type person. This is something that should be coordinated and well thought out. But reaching out to parents, actually, I love to share this story because I think one of the best things I did as a teacher was there was a student I worked with who really struggled, gotten into tons of trouble his whole life. He got in lots of trouble and didn't do well in school. He was in special education. Honestly, probably one of those kids who shouldn't have been in special education. He was just kind of a punk kid who really needed to connect with an adult. Started out really rough with him, gave me lots of grief. And some of my supervisors didn't really like the way I handled the kid because I tried to treat him with respect and and try to communicate with him, but also have high expectations for the young guy. He was about 17, Well, over the course of the year, we started to click a little better, building mutual respect for one another, and he just kind of turned it around, started doing well in his coursework and behaving, and what was most important was that he was treating adults with respect. So I called his dad, and of course he lived with just his dad. And as soon as his dad heard it was someone from the school, a comment like, "What did he do now?" And I was very happy to tell this guy's dad that I'm calling to tell you how good your son is doing. And I joked that there was a thud on the floor because the guy passed out. That didn't really happen, but he was very surprised and frankly quite moved. I saw him in public once. I think he came to a parent-teacher meeting after that and just was blown away that someone had called home to tell him his child had done something well. So, and I have other similar stories like that where reaching out to parents in meaningful ways and talking through issues, but more importantly, giving parents positive feedback, especially for those kids who don't hear many positives. I like to, so I encourage you to do that. If you have a kid that you're struggling with, regardless of cultural background, try that. I believe it's a really good thing, and it's good for students to know that you're connected with their parents, that you try to be on the same page with their parents. So there is, within this unit, ideas such as that, but also in the video talks about more comprehensive home visits. And I love to share this, working with a lot of black youth in the inner city. This is probably, it is somewhat stereotypical, but it's just always, it was always striking to me that so many of the African American boys, especially that I worked with, if you said you were going to call their mom, it was like the worst thing. Don't call my mom. Come on, Atkins, don't call my mom. And it just always made me laugh because so many of these kids were like gangbangers, or some of them were wannabe gangbangers. But man, if they knew you're going to call their mom, it was a big deal. And I know for me, being somewhat of an at-risk youth, that is actually one way the school really dropped the ball with me, is not communicating with my parents. Because if my parents knew some of the things that I did, and I actually didn't do bad stuff, but it probably wouldn't have gone on. But there really was no communication with my parents, and it was really detached. So other major things to consider within this unit are language barriers, and making sure you have the resources available to work through language issues with parents, possibly grandparents or guardians within the home. So really good unit. So I'm just wanting you to look at these materials and send me some ideas, some new ideas you've gained from the unit and things you might be able to implement. So you'll see the assignment there. So I'm going to, as I receive things, begin reviewing your final projects. Remember to complete the activities, of course, in the discussion threads. Stormy, I just saw your email come through a minute ago, and that last assignment went to the whole group, actually. I think that's what you're referring to. I'll respond to your email also. So make sure you're doing all the activities and complete those, and the final project and the reflection, and I'll get those scored, and I believe my grades are due next week. So thanks a lot, everybody. Please stop by and say hello. As I've shared with you, teaching online, I love connecting personally with people. I love serving as a mentor, and it's a challenge online, but I hope you've gained knowledge and skills that you'll find useful as you move through your career. So one way or the other, stay in touch. If you're on campus, please stop by and say hello and introduce yourself. And I would love to sit down and visit. So take care. Also, as you're working through these final projects, if you need to arrange a call over the next few days, just let me know. I'll be happy to chat. So take care, everyone.